Well, hello, everybody. Everybody remember me, Henry Michaels. It's been a while since I've done live streaming with you, but I'm happy to be back again. You know this lady right here, Jillian, and we have a really interesting topic today that we're going to do. We're going to show everybody at home how to take a antigen home COVID test. So we have three different samples that we're going to go ahead and show you. A lot of you are probably very familiar with this one. Closer. This is the one that the Postal Service was letting everybody be able to get 2 free. Was that the Postal Service? Mm-hmm. Okay. So most of you probably have seen this one. I do want to mention, and you want to look at this for all of your COVID tests, check the back to make sure the expiration date. With this particular one, these sat around a lot of people's shelves for a while, and then we noticed one day, oh my goodness, this is expired. But you had found something from the CDC website that they had extended it? So.
Right, when I was at the grocery store, there was a huge pile of these tests that were on sale, and there was a nice notice that said that the CDC had extended the expiration dates on these tests. The longer these tests are around, the more they're learning about their accuracy and how long. So now we know that they're longer, or they're good for about their expiration date.
Yeah, so that's good to know. So look on the back. This one right here says it's good till August 15th, 2022. So if we go by Jillian's estimation, it's still good for the date that it has on here, but add another, 3 months onto that.
So about November.
So this is good for a while. Then we have Enax now. I've never used one of these in particular, so I'm going to concentrate on this one today, and Jillian's going to work with you on the other. But there is an expiration date of this one of October 13th, 2022. So always read the back. It's very important that you go by the guidelines that the CDC says, or what it says here on the box. So
it's interesting to note that usually when you buy these from the store, the expiration date isn't very long after you've been able to purchase them. It's usually within a few months of when you've actually been able to purchase them. And then there's this test. I did these with my son around Christmas time. Everybody at the schools got these tests. It's very important to note that when you do get these home tests, you have to make sure that it is good for use under emergency use authorization. So there's a lot of different COVID tests. I think there's one you blow on. I don't know if that one has the authorization, but so you always, lots of things to look for. Expiration date, if the box looks like it may have been tampered with, this one looks like it's been opened from the bottom. And make sure that it is a test that is authorized to be used for emergency use.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see here. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with this iHealth brand right here. Now, first of all, I do want to say, Julie and I are not medical experts. I'm not a doctor. She's not a doctor. We're not nurses. However, we both have had lots of experience taking these tests.
Mm-hmm.
You've taken it about 50 times?
I take them a lot. I'm a little paranoid. I have allergies. I know that COVID symptoms are very similar to allergy symptoms, and because I want to keep everyone as safe as possible when I come to work, I take them every time I feel like I might be a little under the weather,
which is what a lot of us do here at Elwyn. I do the same thing. So I've taken about 15 of these. I think we're pleased to say we've both always been negative. So let's knock on wood. Hope that continues to be the case. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get right into this. So you open the box. A lot of times you're going to see that it's sealed right here with a piece of plastic. So you're going to want to cut that, open it up. And there are supplies in there, but what you want to do is take out your instruction sheet first, because this is going to tell you what the other parts on the inside are. So go ahead and open this up. And I'm going to go ahead and just read along here. So you're going to prepare your materials. In doing so, you're going to have a swab that you're going to use to insert into your nose later. We have actually something else that you want to know. Some kits have two test kits inside, some only have one. This particular one has 2. So you're going to get 2 of each item in here. I have 2 swabs, 2 test cards, and we have 2, and what are these little goodies called? This is what you use to
Liquid.
collect your samples. So
Test tube.
pre-filled tubes. Okay, so with that being said, get all your information out. First of all, your surface should be clean. Make sure you have it wiped down. When I've taken my tests at home, I've even laid out paper towels so I would have something to lay it on top of. Wash your hands. You don't know what bacteria has been on your hands. If you've been around somebody with COVID, you don't want to have anything on your hand because you may not be positive at this point, but you might have touched some surface with somebody that did. So, surface is wiped down, hands washed, and you should wear gloves.
Whoa. Whoa.
I mention this because I know a lot of people aren't putting gloves on when they're doing that, but it's good. And I think that this is a small size, so all right, these will work for me. Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you very much.
We have our assistant,
Our Vanna White here.
Dana White, giving us our paper towels here. It's elsewhere.
Always read the instructions from beginning to end before you take the test. That way, as you do it, you kind of already know what you're going to be doing.
So our first step is going to be, let's see where are we? So we have all of our items, laid out
The
here.
first step is preparing the materials.
Okay, so we have everything here. I'm going to go ahead and open my test card and lay that out here. This is what it looks like once you open it, in case you haven't seen one. Got that here. I've got my tube, and I've got my swab. So once you're prepared, have your gloves on, everything's clean, and you're basically ready to go. Step 2 is to actually collect your sample.
No.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to actually insert this into my nose. I'm not going to gross anybody out. Nobody wants to see that. But we're going to kind of do a simulation.
It should peel apart.
Okay, there is a section where you can go ahead and peel it. So, and it's going to peel from the end that has the stick. You do not want to touch the cotton swab end because that's where you're going to be inserting that basically into your nose. So you have your swab right here. Okay, to collect your sample, it says gently insert the entire absorption tip of the swab 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch into the nostril. Like I said, I'm not going to do that, but I've had enough tests in the medical community that say you really have to get it up there 1/2 inch to 3/4 because that is where the virus tends to collect, way back there in the base of the nostril there. So when you go ahead and insert it 3/4 of an inch. It says firmly and slowly brush it against the inside of the nostril in a circular motion against it for at least 5 times. It should take 15 seconds to collect the entire specimen, and you're going to do both sides of your nose 5 times. So I'm going to simulate this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're done. Once again, don't touch it because this is what has your sample on it right here. Next sample, we're going to go to the tube. And it says to go ahead and tap it on the table 5 times. What's interesting about these tubes is there's actually 2 tops that you're going to go ahead and remove. You're going to take off the orange top right now. So you're going to screw that off. And that's when you're going to go ahead and insert your sample that you just collected into the tube. It says in order to do so, you need to stir it at least 15 times. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to count 15. I'll actually go ahead and do this time since we already opened it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's important you do it that length of time because that gives more time for any of the virus that you may or may not have to actually get into this solution here. Okay,
You have to put it back in there.
so then we have it, and this is an important step. I know I've talked to some people and they forget this step, and it's very important that when it comes time to remove the swab from the tube, you have to grasp it here really hard and squeeze it. And the reason you're doing that, because as you're pulling it out, you're squeezing out any of the mucus or any of the virus that might have collected on the swab. So I'm squeezing it really hard and I'm pulling it out. So anything that needs to be sampled is now in that solution. Okay, so I'm done with this. You don't want to just toss it in the trash. They say you should insert it back into that little package there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's going back in there, and I'm going to throw that away later. Okay, so I got my sample here. Put your orange cap back on tightly. Putting it back on here. Okay, so it's on tight again. Now it comes time to put your sample into the, where's my, here it is, into the test card. I'm going to remove the white cap on top of the orange one. Okay. It says, go ahead and add 3 drops of the sample to the sample port of the COVID. So on the right-hand side, you're going to see a little sign that says 3 drops. Turn it, and I'm going to go and watch it come out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, at that point, we're going to wait 15 minutes to see the positive result. Here's what I generally do. I get my phone out so I can go ahead and time that 15 minutes so I can be exactly accurate. For those of you that don't know how to do so, get your iPhones, go to the clock, go to stopwatch, and then I just hit start. And then I leave it sitting here. So when it gets to the 15 minutes, I'm going to know my 15 minutes are up. You can even set an alarm if you want to do so, but most people can just go ahead and sit and watch it. Or you can go do something, but just leave everything, here. So I can see that the sample, you're going to see it's going to go ahead and travel across you're going to see a T and a C. I can see that the wet area is traveling across here slowly. And it's going to do so slowly. That's why you need to wait the full 15 minutes. Not 5, not 10, 15 minutes.
On this little device here, you'll see that there's a C and a T. The C does not mean COVID. It means clear, I believe. And then the T, if there's a line next to the C and the T, then it's a positive result. So we'll sit here, we'll wait the 15 minutes, and we'll see what that one says. This test is very similar to that one, so we're not going to go through that one. But this one, I'm not going to lie to you, these ones are a little bit overwhelming. When you take it out, it's a little bit different. When you take it out, there's this tray, and on the tray, it looks kind of the same as everything else, where it has the little packet that has the card. It's actually a card. It has your solution, and it has your swab. So, like I said before, you always make sure that you read the instructions all the way through first before you start.
In the meantime, while she's doing that, I'm disposing of my old tests so that
These instructions are in Espanol.
Espanol.
Espanol. All right. Well, that's good to know. Spanish and English instructions. So that's helpful. So I'm going to go ahead. I have my paper towel laid out here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up this test here so you can see that it is actually a card instead of what would we call these?
Those are the test cards.
These are a test card too. One's made of cardboard, the other one is made of plastic. So here, you'll see that it actually opens up, and you do things a little bit differently with this one. So with this one, you open up the card and have it flat on the table. You take the solution So you remove the test card from the pouch and lay flat on the table, and the card must stay flat on the table. You open the card, you may bend the spine in the opposite direction to help the card lay flat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that so that there we go. So then you remove the dropper bottle cap, which I did. You hold the dropper bottle straight over the top hole. So there's 2 holes, one on the top, one on the bottom. Hold it over the top hole. Kind of wish there were little like instructions on it.
Would be nice.
It would be nice. And then you drop 6 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you, Katie, for helping me keep count. Do not touch the card with the tip of the applicator or with the tip of the dropper bottle. Now I'm going to open the swab. The swab, it's the same. It should peel away. There we go. So just like the other test, you open it from the bottom, never from the top, because like Henry said, you never touch the tip of the swab. So now with this one, like the other one, 3/4 of an inch, which is about, you want to put it up to like right here on your nose. So that's about 3/4 of an inch. So you're gonna swap, make 5 big circles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I cheat when I take these tests. I put my finger right as high as it needs to go, and I make sure that I'm.
Well, that's not cheating. I think that's very thorough.
Because I want to make sure it's going in the right spot.
Answer. No, that's good.
So then I go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, while keeping the card flat on the table, you're going to push the swab tip from, okay, so like I said, there are 2 holes, from one hole into the other one. So, and then you do not remove the card from the swab. So you're going to go like this.
Yeah, this is very different than the one that I
Like
did.
this, right? Looks right. It looks right.
Looks good to me.
I'm looking at the instructions. I'm looking at this. It's looking like it matches. So now you turn the swab to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Do not remove the swab. You're going to peel. So there's a little adhesive tape on one side. You're going to peel the adhesive tape. You're going to close the card. There's some lines here. If you live at home with a lot of people and you guys are all experiencing some sniffles, you can actually write your name on the card so that you know what test belongs to who. So you're going to firmly seal that. You're going to wait for 15 minutes, and you'll end up getting your results after 15 minutes. Now, I see that the fluid from this dropper bottle is already kind of bleeding into the
That's
top
what it did for mine too. Mm-hmm.
So it's already doing its job. Now, this one has, if it's 2 pink lines, it is a positive result. If it is just 1 pink line, it's a negative result. If there's a blue line and a pink line, it's an invalid result.
Oh.
So I know a lot of people are always looking for those 2 lines. You have to make sure that with this specific test, that both lines are pink if you're thinking that it's positive. Otherwise, if it's a blue line and a pink line, it didn't work, maybe not enough mucus, maybe it was a bad test, you're going to have to take another one, which is why they put 2 tests in each box, just in case you get an invalid result or just to confirm a positive result.
You know, sometimes I hear the reason that they put 2 tests in one box is because some people have to test. Usually if you're in exposure, you take a test 3 days after your exposure date, and then sometimes they'll say you'll take a second one 5 days after. So you'll take one on day 3 and one on day 5. The rules are always changing. That's one of the reasons that you might see 2 tests in one. So as I just showed you, we went ahead and we used our sample for the first test, and I'm going to put everything back in the the box because I want to save this second test in case I need to do one on day 5, or if not, then we'll just have one for a later date. So but I got another test that's we go for the next time.
Store them in a dry place, not in a bathroom where it gets steamy because the tests do get damaged. And these cotton swabs, this is paper. So if the box gets wet, this will get wet, and then the swab is ruined. I had one on my kitchen counter, and my son spilled a drink, and the whole box of tests was ruined because the swabs got the orange juice did not have COVID.
No, it did not. So my tests were up to 8 minutes and 46 seconds. To be absolutely thorough, remember to get it up to 15 minutes. However, in the interest of time, because we are live here, we're going to pretend that my clock just went for the 15 minutes. And I'm going to show you the result here. May not be able to see it, but this is what a negative result looks like. It's one red line under the C. One red line under the C. And to give you a little bit better example, there's an actual test that someone took here. So this is what your negative test will look like. I'm going to show you what a positive test looks like.
3 positive tests.
This person was really thorough and took it 3 times to make sure that their results were accurate. This is what your positive test looks like. 2 solid lines, one under the C and one under the T. Okay.
Sometimes
we'll pass these around for you all to take a look at.
Sometimes that second line will be very, very faint. So you have to make sure that you're looking very closely and that there isn't a very faint line on the test. If there is a very faint line, you think you see it, maybe you don't, then it's probably a good idea to take another one just to confirm that it is in fact a positive test.
Now here's something else really important to think about. This is something Jillian and I talk about all the time. You probably have heard on the news about what's called the positivity rate. This will tell you how many cases in the county that you live in. I don't know what the last positivity rate for our county
it was like
was,
17.5.
but 17, and that's serious. That's high. We're in a high category right now.
That's how many tests people are taking. Out of all the tests that people are taking, how many are actually?
That's actually how many are actually reported, as Jillian said.
Actually reported, because a lot of people take these tests at home and they never get reported.
And it'll tell you right here, step number 9, after you dispose of it, report the result following the app instructions or share your test result with your healthcare provider. And the reason that's important is because that's how the positivity rate is determined. And Jillian and I know many people are not reporting it. They're just taking their test and go, oh, I'm negative, oh, I'm positive, and not reporting at all. So I had actually heard on the news that the 17%, we actually need to add 3% to that because of all the people that are not reporting it. So while you may say, but let's look in the other direction. Let's say we thought we only had a 5% positivity rate. Well, all the people that didn't report that, it's really like an 8 or a 9%. So it is important that you report your results. And who are we reporting our results to, just based on the app?
Department of Public Health, you can report it to. And is there a phone number or
I do not see that.
The best thing to do is to call your healthcare provider and report it to them that you have COVID. That way they know that you have it. They can make sure that you are under the proper care during it, that your symptoms aren't too severe. And if your symptoms do become more severe, there's medications they can give you now to help you with that. And then they will report it to Department of Public Health. Here we report it. So.
Here at Elwyn, I have to report it to community care licensing because we are a licensed facility. And Jillian does the reporting to
Department of Public Health.
Yeah, and they're very strict about it. We have to report that. For individuals that live in a group home, your group home will report that. We don't report that here. The people that live at home with like family and parents, then we do need to go ahead and report that. So,
right, and especially right now with, like I said earlier, the amount with people with allergies, the symptoms. Once you're vaccinated, your symptoms can be so mild that you might think that it's just an allergy issue that you're experiencing. Please be safe. Make sure that you don't have COVID. You never know when you've been exposed to anybody who may have it. Remember to social distance. Remember to wear a mask if you're in a crowded facility or even indoors. It's probably a good idea now that we're having a little bit of an uptick in cases. So wear your mask, wash your hands throughout the day when you enter a building, but when you exit the building. When I go to shopping at the grocery store, I was telling Henry that I practically bathe my shopping cart before I go.
I do it too.
It's
They have
like,
those wipes outside the store, and so you just take the wipes there, and then you just wipe the handles off.
right, and just do everything you can to stay safe. We want you guys to be safe and healthy throughout this interesting time that we're
Yeah,
living through.
absolutely.
So this test was negative also.
So that basically concludes our demonstration today. Anybody have any questions? I see Vicki, you have your hand up. What's your question?
I know. Sometimes when they take your COVID test at a doctor's office, they shove it up pretty far. And it stings a little bit. It stings a little bit. Sometimes it makes you sneeze. You sneeze, yeah. I sneezed when I had one at the doctor's office too.
I can't name it.
Oh, good. That's good news.
I'm also going to dispose of my gloves here.
This
This is how they teach us how to do it in first aid CPR class. Yes.
Yes.
And then
it's
there's
nothing that's good right now.
He's getting all rough better. It's the same cold 10 days.
Well,
Thank you for your question, Vicki. Katie, you had your hand up. What's your question?
Can't go nowhere.
Pardon?
she's got you ride the horses.
Oh, you ride the horses. Okay. Okay.
So Katie wants to make sure that she stays healthy so she can keep
Keep riding the
riding
horses.
those horses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for your attention today. We hope that you learned a lot about how to take these COVID tests. And everybody keep being safe there. We're doing all we can to keep people safe here at Elwyn. So be safe at home as well. So
Now that we've taken our COVID tests and they're negative, now we can travel to New Hampshire. New Hampshire today. We're traveling to New Hampshire today.
all righty. So we're gonna turn it over to Jeremy Mendoza, our travel expert.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. See you next time.
Hey, Henry.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
You got it?
Yeah. We'll see what we can do about that.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Thank you, Vicki. But let's give Jeremy our undivided attention. Jeremy's up now.
Oh, sure. I'll just keep that here. Besides, I'm always too close to the computer anyway. Oh, speaking of which, a little wider than that. Because at least in that way, we get the map of the U.S. on the corner. So, everybody ready? Yep. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Jeremy.
So, how's everybody this morning? All right. So, by a show of hands, who's ready to go to New Hampshire?
Me. My hands are full. I couldn't show them.
Okay, that's fine. So, has anybody in this room been to New Hampshire? Anybody at all? No? Okay, that's totally fine.
I know.
No? Okay. So, today we're going to be traveling to one of the last New England states that we're going to be talking about. We are pretty much covered the entirety of New England. If you remember, New England is the northeastern states of the U.S. So let's get started, shall we? Can anybody see this flag right here? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you can see the middle with all these crazy details right over here. So you have this blue field, gold lacings right over here, and then you have this many pictures right here in the middle of a colonial ship, a large water vessel, and you have the original 13 colonies flag right over here, along with other flags. And all of this is to symbolize American independence from the British Empire. And that's pretty much what the U.S., or at least the New Hampshire seal, looks like. If you were to remove the blue field, you'll see the seal everywhere in the U.S. state of New Hampshire, no matter pretty much wherever you go. So, by a show of hands, have any of you been on a boat this big?
I did.
All right. So, as I'm understanding, you guys been on a ferry before, right? It's kind of like a ferry, this colonial ship right here, but it's much, much bigger. So, hope you don't get seasick. So, let's move on to the next slide, shall we? So, like I said, New Hampshire is one of the New England states, far northeast. And this tiny stretch right here, that's New Hampshire. So as you can tell, it is surrounded by Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts to the south, and then to the north, you have Canada.
Wow.
That's going to be pretty important later on as we're going to talk about the demographics. So the capital of New Hampshire is Concord, but the largest city is Manchester. So geographically speaking, New Hampshire is known for its natural beauty, its countrysides, its rugged mountains, clear blue lakes, and sandy lakes and oceanic beaches. What I mean by that is, I kind of forgot this little notch right up here where it connects to the Atlantic Ocean. So not known for its beach tourism, but I can pretty much promise you there is some beaches that you'll find over there. So as far as climate is concerned, you have a humid continental climate. So that means, so what that basically means is that it will have warm weather, warm humid weather during the spring and summer, but during the winter it will be long, cold, and snowy. So you better bundle up when you're going to go there during the winter times. So there's that. So let's talk about some brief history. So on a map, New Hampshire is not exactly the most impressive. Sorry. But it used to be much bigger because right over here and over there used to be part of New Hampshire, but then New York started disputing this because it was along the Connecticut River. And then you have Quebec claiming this stretch of land to be part of New Hampshire. But even before there were European settlements, there were what were called Algonquin people. You remember those? You remember them, right? The Algonquin, the people who inspired our democracy, the people who gave us our symbolisms, like the arrows and the eagles and the laurel leaves, excuse me. And so you have those people who were already there, and then Europeans began to settle along Portsmouth, Dover, Exeter, and Hampton. So they settled along here, and then they expanded their territory westward across the Connecticut River. So to those of you who are wondering where the name New Hampshire comes from, the clue is in the name, New. So there has to be an Old Hampshire, right? It goes back to England. There's a county over there called Hampshire. This place was named after the county of Hampshire. New Hampshire, kind of like New York, is named after York. I mean, what else would you call it? So there you go. A little bit of your brief history over there. Oh yeah, it also became a U.S. state in 1788, just to clarify that. So let's talk about what New Hampshire is known for. So who wants to go hiking?
I do.
So this is White Mountain National Park. So you'll notice a pattern here because New Hampshire is known for its rugged mountains. This is one of them. So it is a national park within the White Mountains. And it is home to, and here's a list for you, it is home to eagles, raccoons, beavers, white-tailed deer, moose, black bear, coyotes, falcons, Canadian lynx, river otters, bobcats, and foxes, minks, and porcupines. So you may want to be careful when you go hiking in those mountains. So if you want to stay safe, steer clear of certain animals. No, there isn't. Because snakes cannot survive in cold conditions. They have to be. Yeah, coyotes. You have to be careful with them. They may look like dogs, but they're not. Yeah. So it's all about safety. So let's move on to the next slide, shall we?
Whoa.
This is the city of Manchester. So Manchester is the largest city in New Hampshire, like I said. It is also pretty known for a lot of things. It was voted as one of the best cities to live in the United States. Yeah, seriously. It was voted one of the best cities to live in because part of it has to do with its affordability. So it's been said that you can buy a house over here for half the price than anywhere else, probably less. At least that's what I was able to find in my research. And trust me, I'm not looking to pack my bags, move to New Hampshire. Please, I don't know what's over there. I don't know what to expect too much. So yeah, largest city. It's also known for being one of the friendliest cities to live in. So if you want to move to New Hampshire, I guess the recommendation I can give you is move to Manchester. Just like with New Hampshire, it's also named after a city back in England. So keep in mind of that. So let's move on to what else they're known for. Let's talk about some sports, shall we? It's the Nassau Silver Knights. They are they're a collegiate baseball team. And to give you some stats, they have won 5 championship leagues. So yeah, you have the knight over here, and then you have baseball bats in the back, and you have a thunderbolt on the bottom on his helmet. So yeah, go Silver Knights. Let's talk about more sports team. This is what is this called? The New Hampshire Wild. They're a pro baseball team. And so far, from what I've been able to find, they have yet to win anything. So better luck next time, New Hampshire Wild. So no stats. And to be fair, they're a new team. They were founded in 2016. So just to be fair to you guys. So hopefully they'll win something. And maybe we might talk about that again. So I know this is going to be our favorite part. Let's move on to the next one. Ready? Who's hungry? So basically, New Hampshire is known for a lot of things. They're known for brewing some beverages that I won't be showing here because they're more of the alcoholic variety. But this is apple cider.
Yeah, my book.
It is what it looks like. It's apple cider, and that, in case you're wondering, is a orange peel.
Yeah,
That little fruit peel that you see on the edge.
Me and Matt.
So by a show of hands, who's tried apple cider? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all might have. It's sort of like the borderline, I guess you could say, between alcohol and non-alcoholic, just carbonated. Well, not necessarily carbonated, but I guess you get the point. So let's move on to more food. Who wants breakfast? Yeah, so this is what is called a family-style breakfast. Yeah. So this is a family-style breakfast.
Yeah.
You'll find these in a lot of bed and breakfast places, even just basic diners. So you have your pancakes, scrambled eggs, potatoes, and bacon. And that's orange juice, and that's syrup. As far as the kind of syrup, I don't know. That could be maple for all I know. Well, I don't think there's any Denny's here. So yeah, it is pretty much what it looks like. Well, probably not as good as these, homemade style. So New Hampshire, If you guys are ever going to New Hampshire and you want breakfast, you gotta try those.
Yeah.
So let's move on to more food, shall we? Who likes clam chowder?
I do. What?
So you guys remember talking about clam chowder, right? So because we're in New England, we always have to talk about the coastline. So remember when I said the Atlantic Ocean is right next to New Hampshire? Well, being a coastal location has its advantages. You have plenty of food sources in the water too. So you're gonna go for clams, you're gonna make clam chowder just like everybody else. Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island, doesn't matter.
My dad likes it. Makes me hungry.
Yep. Let's talk about more food, shall we? Who wants French toast? Yeah. This is French toast. So you have your bread right here. You have your berries right over here. You have your whipped cream and your syrup. Yep, it is what it looks like. Yep. So by a show of hands, who likes French toast? You guys like French toast? How about you, Jill? You like French toast?
Love French toast.
Awesome. Then you're gonna like New Hampshire then.
Are they the French toast capital of the world?
Close enough.
That looks delicious.
All right. Okay. When we go to New Hampshire, let's do that. Let's go get some French toast.
Good French toast.
Yep. We're almost done with food. One more, and I think you'll like it. What's ice cream?
Oh, yeah, man. Come on.
So, this is New Hampshire ice cream. Homemade ice cream. You'll find these at ice cream parlors. You'll find these anywhere where they serve ice cream. So, yeah. If any of you are interested in getting ice cream, especially in the middle of the summer, well, you grab yourself an ice cream cone for some ice cream. So, yeah. So, what's your guys' favorite flavor?
Chocolate?
Chocolate? Me too. Rocky Road?
Yes, Rocky Road.
Yep. Cookie dough. All right. How about you? What's your favorite? 4. Oh, wow. Okay. Uh-huh. That's one.
Apple.
Yeah.
And chocolate.
All right. How about you? What's your favorite flavor?
What's my favorite one?
For ice cream.
Mint chip.
Mint chip. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. So let's talk about some famous people, shall we? Does anybody recognize him?
No.
No? Okay. So let me ask you this. Are any of you familiar with people going into space?
No.
Okay, fair enough, I suppose. This is Alan Shepard. He is the first American to orbit our planet. He is the first American to be aboard the Freedom 7, sometimes known as the Mercury Redstone 3. And this was the first American human space flight in history. So I'm going to show you some pictures of what he found in space. First of all, this is the rocket. Before we go to space, you got to launch yourself out of a rocket. So this is the United States rocket known as Freedom 7 Mercury Redstone. So back in the 1960s, obviously, we had the space race. So we had to have a rocket first. This was developed by NASA. You guys familiar with NASA? Really? You see NASA shirts everywhere.
Yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You have a NASA shirt?
Yes.
All right, there you go. Then you're familiar with NASA. So you had NASA develop this rocket so it could go to space. And let's see what we found in space. This is our Earth.
That's very pretty.
So by a show of hands, who wants to go to space? 1, 2. Really? Did you say yeah?
Yes.
That's 3.
Let's go. Maybe because
You wanna go to space?
Are scared of heights, so maybe.
You're willing to go on a plane, but you're not willing to go farther than that? All right. I mean, logic aside,
Yeah.
really, only 4 people want to go to space. All right.
Let's go.
Vote me in, because that'll be 5.
Let's go into space.
So yeah, when people were going up into space, they were taking all kinds of pictures. This is one of those famous pictures. This is our blue planet. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Recognize this gentleman?
No.
Nope. This is Bob Montana. He is a cartoon artist and illustrator, probably best known for some of the comics that I'm about to show you right here. Has anyone read any of these comics? Archie? No? Nobody's read Archie Comics.
Yes, you do.
Really? They're everywhere in grocery stores. They're everywhere in any store where they sell books.
Don't tell me no.
Really? You guys never read Archie? Okay. So, Archie Comics. That's what he was known for. So he was illustrating these comics for about a decade or so, and then he passed on that task to other people. So he said, okay, I created these cartoons. I'm passing it on to you. Have fun with it. So yeah, he's best known for the Archie Comics. I don't know about you, but I was reading these comics when I was about 10, and I barely understood half the things I was reading. So I'll see if I can read them again and get some context. So let's talk about the people of New Hampshire. So what it looks like on a physical map. You have the highest peak, Mount Washington. And here's the capital of Concord. And Manchester is just down the river right over here. And like I said, this little notch right over here is where we get the fishing industry for clam chowder, for the clam chowder. And so the reason why I brought up that New Hampshire borders Canada is because of the most common ancestries. They are Irish, English, French, Italian, German, and get this, French Canadians. So you have French Canadians living here, and you also have people who are descendants of French Canadians living in New Hampshire. And as of 2020, there are over 1 million people living in this state. So not a whole lot of people when compared to other states. So just saying, don't expect too much. So let's conclude today's class, shall we?
Yeah.
And Carmen's not here to see that this the expiration date here. It expired 2017.
Men like that.
Yeah, so
Calling the DMV.
calling New Hampshire DMV. So you have New Hampshire down on the bottom. I was a bit reluctant to share the motto, live free or die. A bit extreme, but okay. I'm just saying, a bit extreme. So let's conclude today's class, shall we, you guys?
Let's go.
While this state is not exactly what you'd expect on first glance, when you actually look at this New England state, when you actually look more into it, you'll find some very interesting things. So as you see in the license plate right here, you have a mountain in the back, so you'll find some natural beauty, some man-made wonders over here. Even though it doesn't seem like much to you guys, but you got to admit, for a small state, they've achieved quite a lot. They have some of the best cities. They have some of the friendliest places living there. So if you ever are interested in going to New Hampshire, so it's a lot more than just visit the places, meet the people, try their foods. So, and don't expect too much from sports teams. I was not able to find too much on that. So good luck watching the sports channel. Just saying. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host. I'll see you on the road. There you go. There you guys.
Bye, Jeremy.
Bye, guys.
What? Put them in the camera.
So, goodbye, you guys. We'll see you guys on when do we do a live stream again?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. But we will see you guys pretty soon on Tuesday. Bye.
Oh, with Travis.
Bye.
11:22 a.m.